Hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa Andrews with the National Sports Media Association, and today I'm here with Mr. Politi. Mr. Politi, how are you doing today?
Doing great, thanks.
Great. So before we get started, can we get a little bit of an introduction from you and some background information?
Sure. I'm the sports columnist for NJ.com and the Star Ledger, the largest news gathering organization here in New Jersey. I've had this job for about 26 years now. Went to college down in North Carolina your way, went to UNC way back when. And I've just been working up here ever since. So this is where I grew up in New Jersey. So this is my home territory. And I've kind of been lucky to be able to work for writing stories for people who are from my neck of the woods.
Lovely. So what kind of persuade you to start a career in sports journalism?
It's funny. I started working for my town paper when I was in high school. The town paper called the Nutley Sun, and it just kind of something I enjoyed. I loved telling stories about people. I loved covering games and being at sporting events. And it just kind of kept going with it. I did it when I was at Carolina for a couple of years. I was at the Daily Tar Heel when I was in college and wrote sports stories there. And then came out of college, got a job at the News and Observer in North Carolina in Raleigh, and just kind of did it ever since. Yeah, it's just kind of something I started at an early age, really enjoyed, and I was lucky to discover what I wanted to do when I was young.
Great. And are there any memorable stories that you've written or, significant impacts that they've left on you throughout the years?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I've been very fortunate that I've been able to cover a lot of really big events. I've covered 6 Olympics, covered the Masters every year and for the last 20 years in golf. But for me, the stories that always make the biggest difference are the ones about interesting people. And usually that means people who, are not always at the highest level of the sport, people who are willing to tell you their stories, who might be your neighbor or play for the local high school or college or whatever it may be. So those are the ones I've always enjoyed telling. And I don't know, there've been so many over the years. I can't even come up with two or three, but I just love being able to, sit down with someone who has an interesting tale to tell, who's willing to kind of open up to you and share that with the readers.
Lovely. And with sports media kind of evolving, how do you see the role of like traditional sports compared to, you know, now with social media?
Yeah, no, I think there's always going to be room for people who are doing the on the ground reporting. And I think that's one thing that you're not seeing a lot of the, I want to say new media, but yeah, a lot of people are on Twitter or Facebook who have opinions, who are telling you what they think about things. But for me, there's just always the value in being the one who's sitting in the front row at the press conference asking questions, the one who's out there trying to report, trying to um, dig around on stories that are matter to our local readers. And I think as long as that's still valued and that's still something people want and crave, that the quote unquote traditional media will have a role.
Yeah, definitely. And how do you stay informed on, current trends or, different events that just randomly pop up in sports?
Yeah, no, I'm constantly reading. I think that's the one best advice you can give any young journalist is no matter what you want to do, what you want to cover, what you want to write about, you just got to spend a lot of time reading what other people are doing. And it's so much easier now than it was when I was younger, because even with stuff behind the paywall, there's still so much out there that you can find and that you can consume. And I as a columnist, I'm constantly reading people like Sally Jenkins from the Washington Post or Bill Plaschke at the LA Times, just to see how they approach stories, see what they're writing about, see what's important in those markets. But yeah, but it goes beyond that too. I mean, just, I consume news all day long and sports news all day long. And it's just, that's just a part of what staying in tune with stuff helps you. It's really necessary for what we're doing, because if you don't, you get lost pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And to just build off that question, what advice would you give a young, sports journalist wanting to enter the industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is one of the industries you kind of have to learn by doing, and I know it's not easy, and there's no traditional path anymore. When I was coming out, you tried to get the best job you could at the biggest newspaper you could, and then you went up to the next one. That path is kind of gone. Now you've kind of have to find ways to get exposed to it. You have to look in non-traditional sites. You got to team sites, social media, jobs, and there's a lot of different paths to take. But I think the one universal thing that works for all young people and for anybody really is just to make sure you outwork the person next to you, that you're willing to try things, that when you're writing a story, you're making an extra phone call that someone else didn't. And that's the kind of stuff that helps you stand out, I think, with people who are above you, people who are editors who've kind of seen that they can see your work. All right, this is someone who's really willing to go the mile with stories. And I think that the people who are willing to do that rise to the top pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. And just being a sports columnist, like, what do you enjoy most about your career?
I work at home. No, I kid. Have become important now that I have kids. But no, I mean, I don't know. I just love the variety of it. And, as I'm a general sports columnist, and I know a lot of people now see value in specializing. Like, I'm going to be the NBA writer. I'm going to be the college football expert. And I totally understand that, because I think that is the way things have gone on the internet and social media. And it's better to be an expert on one team than perhaps a million teams. And I get that. But for me, what I love about my job is I cover something different every day, and I get to bounce around. And, today it might be the Jets, tomorrow it might be a high school story. Another day it might be a feature on a gymnast. It's just that I am exposed to different things, and it keeps me on my toes, and I never kind of get stale because of it. So that's what I love about it. I never kind of from one week to the next know what I'm going to be doing, and that's fine with me.
Yeah. Yeah. And just kind of to talk about, the digital age that we're in, what do you see as the future for sports journalism?
I wish I knew, I wish I could know what the future was. Um, I certainly am more optimistic than a lot of people about it, and I don't know what the pay model is going to be, and I don't know, you know, what we'll be doing, but I do know that what I've seen in my own career is that as things have changed, we used to be, you would write for this stationary newspaper that people had to buy at the newsstand, and that's all you could do. You had just the written word. But in the 25 years of my career up here, and now we have so many different ways to tell stories. I host a podcast, we do videos, with so many incredible display things you can do. I mean, you can do Instagram stories, TikTok stories. You can connect with so many people on social media in a way that you couldn't when I first started. So for me, it's gotten challenging in a lot of ways, and the industry itself has been more difficult to navigate because of financial forces. But far as just the storytelling part of it, I think it's better than it was when I started by far. So I'm kind of optimistic that if those changes continue, whatever the next thing is, will be cool. Will be another way of telling stories that I wouldn't have been able to foresee 5, 10 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. Well, congratulations on your National Sports Media Association Award for 2024. And thank you so much for allowing me to interview you today.
Of course, I was glad to do it. Thanks, Alyssa.
Thank you.